Yeah.
3, 2, 1, you're on.
Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to Funky Rainbow this festive Saturday morning for a very special bazaar called the Gaja Maja Bazaar. I mean, everything in terms of the bazaar sort of fell in place almost serendipitously, actually, we knew Ashok Rajagopalan's new book, Gajapati Kalicha Kulicha, was going to be out this week. And when we were talking about it last week, we started to make a list of books featuring elephants, children's and young adult books featuring elephants. And it was amazing how many children's books feature elephant characters, in them. And I think the theme of our next bazaar was quite literally staring us at our, in our faces then. We knew when we had over 30, 35 books with gentle giants and maybe wild giants and elephants big and small, elephants real and imaginary, we really felt that we could do a bazaar around this theme. Of course, the fact that that most famous elephant of them all has a new book to his name, Gajapati Kulapati Kalicha Kulicha, was also a reason for this bazaar. Of course, it so turned out that, as we were discussing this, my mum suddenly piped up and said, this is Ganesh Chaturthi today. And there, everything has absolutely come together fabulously well. We wish all our viewers out there a happy Ganesh Chaturthi, and may there always be an abundance of books in all our lives. We really believe that there's no bigger religion than the religion of books. So good morning again on this fabulous Saturday morning. We are a little short-staffed today. Our team is celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi at home. So we would like to definitely, we are probably going to be slower in sending these orders out, the orders that are made after the Gaja Maja Bazaar. And so please just bear with us. This, festive weekend is going to be a little bit slow. I want to say good morning to Moon Mitra Das and her son Amritayu, who is watching us live from Calcutta. He's all of 9 years old. And welcome. We hope there are lots and lots of Gaja books that you are interested in, Amritayu, and we hope you have a lot of maja at our bazaar. We've got a great guest coming, going to join us later in the show today. And Amritayu, I tell you, there's a lovely surprise in there for you. So wait and watch, to see what surprise Ashok brings for someone like you. Hi, Rupa Baliga. Good morning and happy Ganesh Chaturthi to you too. Everyone at Funky Rainbow sends out their best wishes to you. Like I said, we really wish an abundance of books in, everyone's lives. So, as I said, the theme of the bazaar, Gaja Maja, it's remarkable, these gentle giants. I mean, how many authors and illustrators have felt, a sort of connection with elephants and written these beautiful stories, around them. It makes me wonder when we compile these books. I mean, we would have not probably thought of this connection at all when, many of the books that we're featuring at the bazaar today are all favorites. But until you put them all together like this, really, right, you don't realize how many writers and illustrators in the Indian children's publishing space have celebrated elephants in all their splendid glory. evidently a creature that has, made a way into many of our hearts, perhaps all of our hearts, really. As always, the books that we're recommending at the Buzzaar are available at special prices. Please go to the bargain section on our website, www.funkyrainbow.com. Please click the bargains button, and all the books under the Gaja Maja Buzzaar, all the books under the Gaja Maja title are the books that are available at special discounted prices right through this week. Rimjim, you say thank you for the books sent across and that you are loving it. There are lots and lots of books that we can send across to you. Like our poster says, we deliver happiness anywhere in India and anywhere in the world, really. So thank you so much for joining in. And I'm so glad that you're enjoying the books that we have recommended to you. So, please do check out the Gaja Maja section, and you will find these books, that are being recommended at the Buzzaar available at discounted prices. And the discounts are valid for a period of a week, starting from today till Friday next week. Please go ahead and process your orders through the website. That makes it easiest for us, because then, everything is handled by the website. You can, of course, always reach us on WhatsApp at 99004 95665. And, in case you have trouble and you want more recommendations of books as well. So with that, we begin with those, cursory announcements. We begin our recommendations for today's Buzzaar. Thank you so much once again for joining us on this festive Saturday morning. We really appreciate it. It's a festival morning, and many of you have still taken time out of your morning celebrations and joined us at the Buzzaar. Muttama told me right at the beginning today that there may be, you may hear sounds of conches being, conch bells ringing. And that's probably because, there are houses within this gated community that are celebrating the festival today. One second. Yes, of course. Muttama wants me to tell you that we're, live on Facebook, but we're also live on our YouTube channel, Funky Rainbow. So for those of you who are more familiar with YouTube or would prefer to watch these videos on YouTube, you could check out our YouTube channel called Funky Rainbow. Good morning, Joanne Saldana. Always delighted to see you at our Buzzaar. Muttama was telling me that you might find it a bit hard to be here this morning, but I'm so delighted to see you right here. Thank you so much. Thank you to you and the entire team of the Bookwalis for being here this morning. I do know Archana said that she probably may not be able to make it because she has another appointment. We just send a huge hug her way. She's a true trooper and champion for children's books, and I can't believe that despite all the challenges that she's facing at the moment, she still does so much for the community of readers and book lovers. A big hug goes out to you, Archana Atri. I know you messaged saying that you might not be able to join, but on behalf of your wonderful team at Bookwalis, I mean, all of you together doing fabulous job, I want to say, a huge, load of hugs comes your way from all of us at Team Funky Rainbow. So I'll start with my first recommendation for the day, which is an old and wonderful favorite called Rupa the Elephant. This one is, of course, written and illustrated by one of my favorite writer illustrators, Mickey Patel. I just love Mickey Patel's marvelous illustrations. This is a sweet story about an elephant called Rupa who is in a zoo. And, what does he do in the zoo? He takes children on rides here, there, everywhere. Of course, he has a best friend, a little brown bird called Chinchi. And what happens is that one day, while he's talking, with Chinchi, he says he, feels that he doesn't, there are so many colorful animals in the zoo, and he wonders why he's gray and so drab. Of course, and Rupa starts to weep. But thank God for good friends, because they always know how to, give you a good chin up. And Chinchi basically takes Rupa from one animal to the other, all of whom love Rupa so much that they are extremely happy to give Rupa their skin, their colors. What happens in the story subsequently? What happens when so many animals, all friends of Rupa, come together to lend their color to him? It's such a beautiful story of acceptance. It's such a beautiful story of learning to be comfortable in your own skin. And of course, these bright, lively, wonderful, beautiful illustrations by Mickey Patel simply bring the story alive in all its splendid glory. This one is published by National Book Trust and priced at just a 40 rupees. I mean, imagine having a brilliant book like this in your collection, such an inexpensive one, but such an expensive, so much stuff in it that makes it really invaluable. Of course, Muttama wants to say that the discounts are, of course, valid for a week between today and Friday next week. So that was Rupa the Elephant by Mickey Patel and published by National Book Trust. I'm going to move to my next favorite, which is a lovely book from many, many years ago, but something that remains so popular and so relevant, and so contemporary with kids even today. This one is called I'm So Sleepy, written by the lovely Radhika Chadha and illustrated by the marvelous Priya Kurian. Why, this is the story of Bahadur, a baby elephant who has forgotten how to sleep. Now he's very, very sleepy and he's also very, very worried. So he goes to one animal after the other for help. But you know what? Each one of those animals just sleeps in their own way. And elephants don't sleep in any of those ways. So, what does dear Bahadur do? A charming story written by Radhika Chadha and, so colorfully illustrated by Priya Kurian. You can see the illustrations just leap off the pages. And you can see Bahadur, the little elephant, going from one animal to the next to find out the secret of a good night's sleep. The thing is, Radhika Chadha created many books in this series, which ended up being called and named after this one. So we're assuming this is what she wrote first. The series is called the Baby Bahadur series, and there are such charming titles as Kala Kala Kamini, Mallipu, Where Are You? I'm So Sleepy, Yes Hutokshi, Snoring Shanmugam. All of them set in the same jungle, but the entire series is named after this gentle, sleepy elephant, Baby Bahadur. Such a lovely book, brought out by Tulika Publishers, meant for 3+ year olds and priced at 135 rupees. In fact, Rupa the Elephant too, we would say, would work for the same age group, 3 or maybe 4+year-olds. But these stories can certainly be read to even younger readers. If as adults you're reading, or out to children, you could read them to children that are even younger than the age of 3. So I'm So Sleepy, published by Tulika and priced at 135 rupees. My next recommendation this morning is I mean, it's in because it was one of my niece's favorite books when she was merely 2 months old. Buddha Bim, which is written and illustrated by Alankrita Jain, is a beautiful story that begins, I mean, with just pictures that point out what is going to come. As you can see, barely any words in the pages, and there is Buddha Bim, who floats in the sky, who swims in the ocean, who glows in his skin. So what does that make Buddha Bim? Is he a cloud? Is he a fish? Is he a tiger? Well, I'm not giving away the answer, but you have already seen this illustration. So you definitely know who Buddha Bim is, but it's such a lovely story for the youngest of readers, where you can absolutely get them to keep guessing right through about who Buddha Bim is and the name Buddha Bim. My niece took to it like a fish to water, or should I say, like an elephant to a jungle. She would keep saying Buddha Bim all right through. A marvelous little book for the youngest of readers with such beautiful, delightful illustrations and very little text. Again, published by Tulika, meant for 3+ year olds. But as I said, my niece was merely 2-3 months old. When my cousin started reading the books. Reading this book to her, and she says amongst the first words that she started to say when she was able to speak, Buddha Bim was definitely one of them. Priced at 125 rupees and available at a special discounted price this week at our Maja Gaja Buzzaar. Again, for those of you who've joined in just now, do check out our website www.funkyrainbow.com. Please click the bargain section, and all the books under the Gaja Maja Buzzaar are there, put up under that segment. Do make your lists and place an order whenever you're ready to do it, especially if some of these recommendations interest you. I'm moving to the next book, which is again, such a hot favorite at Funky Rainbow. Also, several, teachers and educators and, book reviewers have, absolutely said that this is such a marvelous book on elephants that, should be introduced to the youngest of readers. This one called Elephants Never Forget, written by Anushka Ravishankar, really one of our greatest children's writers, and illustrated by Christian Pieper, is a beautiful story about a baby elephant who is lost and alone in the forest. What happens to this little baby elephant? A herd of buffaloes comes along and adopts him, takes him into their fold. Now, what happens to this little baby elephant? Is he an elephant now? Is he a buffalo? Is he part elephant, more buffalo? Is he more buffalo and less elephant? It's such a beautiful and joyous story of loss, adoption, integration. I mean, wonderful themes to introduce to our youngest readers. And Anushka, who really writes her rhyme marvelously well, has done such a great job of telling this story in so few words. You can see these gorgeous two-color illustrations. I mean, they really they lift the pages, and lift the story to another level, basically. Very old school in the way the illustrations are, very old school in the way the book has been formatted as well. That is, the design and the typography have such an old world feel to it. In fact, we really think it has a nice old school form where typography and graphic design come together to absolutely tell a marvelous tale. Elephants Never Forget, published by Tara. Of course, I think the outstanding theme of this book, above anything else, is nature versus nurture. Such a great way to introduce this theme to our youngest readers. Handsomely published, produced by Tara Books and priced at 250 rupees. Elephants Never Forget, written by Anushka Ravishankar and illustrated by Christian Pieper. Beautiful book. You must consider, putting this on your shelves, whether it's a home library or a school library. I will move to our next recommendation, which is, we have, I think, at One Buzzaar, certainly spoken about this gorgeous book from Tota Publishers called Good Night. It is, I think they have acquired it from a French publisher. So the authors are Coralie Sordo, and it's been illustrated by Chris Di Giacomo. It's a whimsical tale, it's a whimsical tale about baby elephant who has decided to sleep in his parents' bed tonight. Despite all kinds of ingenious arguments, Papa Elephant insists that our hero, the young hero of this book, must sleep in his own room. But when it is really, really time to sleep, what does the little fellow do? Does he continue to sleep in his own room, or does he come rushing to sleep in his parents' bedroom? What a beautiful bedtime story this is. Whimsical, charming, and you can see the palette, the palette in which the book has been illustrated. Absolutely a great feeling of bedtime recreated right through this wonderful book so aptly called Good Night. This is a handsome hardback production. Like I said, it's published by Tota Books and, done by Coralie Sordo and Chris Di Giacomo. A charming tale, and a charming bedtime story for our youngest readers. Since this is a handsome hardback edition, it is a little bit more pricey. It is priced at 495 rupees, but available at special discounted prices at Funky Rainbow's Gaja Maja Buzzaar. I will, move on to the next book. Okay, there's Menaka Rajpal, who says, as an educator, your books are a blessing. They keep our children glued to it. Have read out some of them to my child. Thank you, Menaka Rajpal. This is exactly the kind of blessing that we want our children to have forever and ever. There is an abundance of books in the Indian children's publishing space, and what Funky Rainbow does, and this is a conscious decision as a group of creators of books ourselves. We have consciously made the decision to promote Indian children's books so that parents, educators, teachers, schools slowly start to bring these marvelous books into their collection. We really do want children to grow up reading lots of culturally relevant books. We're not saying, that you should not read Western books. Most definitely not. We read them compulsively ourselves, but we really do believe from the bottom of our hearts that, children can become better global citizens when they are first familiar with and embrace what is their own. I thank you so much for that lovely message that you sent, Menaka. This is exactly why we do the Buzzaar week after week after week, because we have 7,500 plus books in our collection, and we would like to say that there is one day in which we have introduced every single one of them to readers like you out there. to children, like Amrita, you who are watching us this morning. I really, this is the vision and mission of Funky Rainbow, and we are so thankful that so many of you support that. Really support that and make it possible for us to continue doing what we are doing. I will move, to my next recommendation. Shall I say hellos after this? Yeah, okay. After a couple of books, yeah. Okay, I'm going to move to the next lovely elephant book, which is it's such a whimsical book, really. The title of the book is Aana and Chena. We all know Aana is an elephant, but what is Chena? Chena is just a little piece of yam. Yam, the vegetable that we all eat. We love Soumya Rajendran's choice of protagonists, to have an elephant and a yam be friends. And, the protagonist of a book is such a lovely way to introduce children to the fact that characters abound everywhere, really, right? A piece of yam could be the hero of a book if you chose it to be. Now, what is Aana and Chena's friendship like? Aana the elephant doesn't like his looks at all. Oh no! So we obviously have many books where the elephants don't seem to like the way they look. But Chena the yam says he's absolutely gorgeous. How? Aana wants to know. And from there on, starts a journey that is so delightful. For instance, look, this one begins saying, Aana the elephant did not like how he looked. Look at my nose, he wailed. It is so long. Look at my eyes, they are so small. And from there on, these are slim picture books. So, I'm not going to give away where the story goes in this delightful bilingual book. This one is in English and Hindi, which means the text, as you can see, is there's a line in English and the same line in Hindi as well. A great way to introduce a regional language, to you introduce perhaps your mother tongue or any other language that you would like your child to learn, with these wonderful bilingual books. And we have featured an English Hindi version of it, but it is certainly available in English Kannada, English Malayalam, and several other languages, English Telugu. So you can certainly consider picking it up in any language of your choice. This one, is illustrated by Renuka Rajiv and meant for 3+-year-olds, Aana and Chena, published by Tulika Publishers and priced at a wonderful 95 rupees. Again, like I said, it's eventually a lot of these books are all on the theme of being comfortable, in your own skin, being happy, being who you are. And I think it's a message. I think it's a subtle, message that we should give our children. We should send our children's way. It doesn't matter. Somebody has something, someone else has something, someone is tall, someone has long hair, someone has better shoes, but we are who we are, and we should take pride in who we are. So this one, Aana and Chena, a great, wonderful bilingual picture book. I'm going to say a bunch of hellos to many of you who have joined us this morning. As I said, we are truly grateful and thankful that you've taken time out, on a festive Saturday morning to be with us at our bazaar. We are so happy that you've chosen to celebrate this day with us. Thank you again. Hashim, Mutama and Sham's friend from Dubai, and Elias, Christy and Bindu, all friends of Mutama's and Sham's from different parts of the world. Thank you so much for joining us at our bazaar. It is just wonderful how interested so many of you are in Indian children's and YA books. And we keep saying this to all our NRI friends. It is time for these books to go global. They have got to reach schools and children here, there, everywhere. I mean, many of us grew up reading, so many international books. We read British books, we read American books. It's time that the world, of course, Muttama says we read Russian books, most definitely, yes. And, it's time that our books reach children all over the world. And friends like you, we would absolutely be delighted if you took these books to the countries and schools, where your children are studying. Harpreet Kaur, delightful to see you here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us at the Buzzaar. Sujita, absolutely lovely to see you. We should have had you here at the office. I'm assuming you're busy with your Ganesha Puja, but thank you so much for joining us here. Good morning, Anuja Le. It's absolutely lovely to see you here. Annapurna Das, you say this is awesome work. Thank you so much for recognizing what we do. Thank you for showering us with so much love from your end. It really keeps the wheels of our traveling children's bookshop going at the moment. I mean, literally the pandemic has made it come to a grinding halt. But every single time after we do the Buzzaar, we know that we have a huge world of supporters out there, and we are eternally grateful and thankful for everything that you do for us. Sorry. To whose? Oh, okay. Annapurna Muttama tells me that we are hoping to be at your school very, very soon. We are really looking forward to the world being normal. We will continue to do our bazaars for many, many, years now, I'm fairly sure. But we would be so glad to go back to doing physical events. I can't tell you how much the team at Funky Rainbow is waiting to come back to schools. Hi, Jim George. Hi, Menaka Rajpal. Hi, Karthik Gopalakrishnan, your Muttama's classmate from CLRI Madras. Such a pleasure to see you here this morning. Hi, Devi Shibulal. And hi, Mr. Keshavan Nambudiri. Such a pleasure to see so many of you here this morning. Mahalakshmi ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. You do know we are just a stone's throw from PSBB at the moment, but still meeting online. We really can't wait to come back to the school. Thank you so much as the head of the institution for supporting everything that we do at Funky Rainbow, whether we've done it online or offline. Really a big, trunk call goes out to you, if I could say that, for all the support that you have given us. Hi, Sajish GP, such a pleasure to see a good friend at the Buzzaar. We really miss those days of inventorying and pulling out books and all the confusion that used to occur. I can't tell you how professional we've gotten about our inventory and dispatch right now, Sajesh. And we would love for you to be here, you man of the mountains, really, to come to our office and see, how well organized these things are. Muttama and Sham have always been saying that you must take these books to the mountains. You work and you meet children in so many schools up there. We would absolutely be delighted if these books literally climbed every mountain with you. Hi, Deepthi Kuchangi. Hi, Vasanta Kalbagal. You are here. I know your grandchildren are, your grandchild is a huge fan of Gajapati Kulapati. You've told us that many, many times. And I know you're probably waiting eagerly to, welcome Ashok to the show. He should be in here in, another half an hour. But thank you so much for being with us at almost every bazaar. Hi, Madhuri Modugul. Lovely to see you here this morning. Hi, Vinod Kumar. And hi, Neha Vadiparthi. It is absolutely a pleasure to see all of you here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, like I said again. And sorry? Is Munira auntie here? Yeah, okay. Muttama says, Munira auntie, you are here this morning as well. Thank you so much for joining us at our Gaja Maja Bazaar. All the Gajas are here, and it's you guys who are contributing to the Maja entirely. I will move on to my next recommendation, which is a book that was received so nicely when we recommended it many, many bazaars ago. I think at our bestseller bazaar, because this book has indeed been, in our top 30 best-selling books. Nina and the Cat, published by Jyotsna Prakashan, written by Fatima Sharafuddin, and illustrated by Vincent Hardy. Such a gorgeous picture book about little Nina, who loves to be independent and loves to do different things with her parents. Now, what happens one day is that Nina's parents have to go to work in the forest. But who will take care of little Nina? I'm sure this is a theme that resonates with many parents who probably have to sit in front of the laptop, working. And okay, Rupa Baliga, you say we loved this book. Thank you so much for picking it up from our last recommendation. But for all those of you who don't know about it, this is, like I said, Nina's parents have to go off to work in the forest, but are not sure what they are going to do with little Nina the elephant. As I said, many of you sitting in front of your laptops and working perhaps, right through the day and wondering how, someone's going to engage your children. In this story, fortunately, Cat comes by and absolutely offers to take care of little Nina. Now, what happens? Cat and Nina become thick friends, and Nina is pretty much doing everything that Cat does. So, and of course, the parents are back after, a day's work. And when they see Nina, they find that Nina is so much like a cat just now, doing all things that kitty cats typically do. Such a charming story, so beautifully illustrated, very, very realistic, and a beautiful pastel shaded hues in the book. This one is just a lovely, lovely story. Nina the Cat, published by Jyotsna Prakashan and priced at 90 rupees. My next recommendation is, an elephant in my backyard. This one, written by Shobha Vishwanath and illustrated by Sadhvi Java, is a beautiful story of little Maya, who insists there is an elephant in her backyard. Now, how does she know? Basically, she goes to the temple with her grandma, sees the temple elephant there, and the temple elephant is going to have a baby. The temple elephant is really big, and when she asks her party why the elephant is so big, party says she's going to have a baby. And sure enough, the very next week, there is a little baby elephant standing next to Sangu, the temple elephant. Now, when Maya asks the baby elephant what her name is, all the baby elephant says is Achu. And that's what Maya names the baby elephant. Bless you, Achu, she says. And slowly, I think the baby elephant follows Maya home. Now, the thing is, nobody else believes Maya when she says that there's a little baby elephant that has followed her home and is in the backyard. Party is vaguely disbelieving. Amma is very sure there's no elephant at all, and Appa is completely convinced there is not a chance that there can be an elephant in their backyard. It's a humorous lovely story that children are going to love. You know how much children love fantasy. Young readers especially revel in fantasy, and this is one such charming tale, An Elephant in My Backyard by Shobha Vishwanath and Sadhvi Java, published by Karadi Tales and priced at 250 rupees. Kiran Srinivas, we are delighted to see you here this morning. It is just lovely that after so many, many bazaars, you have finally joined us here, this morning at a very festive and auspicious bazaar. We hope this is going to be the start of being with us at several bazaars and, looking at all our recommendations on Indian children's books. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Prabha Manjunath, you were here this morning as well. Wonderful way to welcome the Elephant Gods Festival. Oh, yes. I mean, like I said right at the beginning of the bazaar, festivals can come, festivals can go, festivals of different religions, but books are our religion at Funky Rainbow. And we thank you, Prabha, who has worked with us at your school here in Bangalore. And now I'm not sure. I think you've relocated to Kerala, isn't it, to work with a school in Kerala. We are delighted to welcome you at our Gaja Maja Bazaar. I hope you're having a lot of maja with all our recommendations. Thank you so much, Prabha Manjunath, for joining us and for saying that this is such a great way to, welcome the elephant god. Our next recommendation is an old and eternal favorite, Ranganna, Muttama's absolute favorite book, I think, by Aarti Anand Navneet, who's a wonderful storyteller herself and illustrated by a very, very talented illustrator, Kavita Singh Kale. We have had several events around Ranganna where Aarti narrates the story so charmingly, and we hope we can bring this charming storytelling session to you sometime in the near future. Now, this is about Ranganna, the elephant who lives by Dhobi Ghat. And what makes Ranganna special for young readers and for us at Funky Rainbow is the fact that Ranganna loves rainbow colors. And look at that glorious rainbow right in on the cover of the book. That's exactly what we want our office to be, a rainbow of colorful books. It indeed is, and that's really why we have the word rainbow in our title. The number of colorful Indian children's books that exist really make up our beautiful rainbow. Rupa Baliga, you say this is a great favorite, and I'm not surprised because I don't think there's too many children who don't love Ranganna and the colors in the book. Now, what happens to Ranganna? Ranganna is seeing colors everywhere. He's seeing colors in the colorful clothes that are spread out to dry. He's seeing color in the flowers that the flower vendors are selling. He's seeing colors on saris, dupattas, bangles, and even, of course, in the rainbow. So what happens when now Ranganna wants to paint his nails? Hooray! We are so glad that there is an elephant who wants to paint his nails. It is such a charming and delightful story for boys and girls alike. And this, a riot of color, basically the book, and really a riot of energy too when Aarti narrates the tale, is a must-read book for children 4+ years in age. Muttama just tells me that it's available in Hindi too, right? Ranganna is also available with us in Hindi, published by Tulika, written by Aarti Anand Navneet, and illustrated by Kavita Singh Kale, priced at 150 rupees and published by Tulika Publishers. My next book is perhaps very, very apt for the day. It is Ganesha's Sweet Tooth. This one by Sanjay Patel and Emily Haynes is a superb story of how Ganesha came to have a sweet tooth. How did he become the god of kadbus or korkates or modakas? I mean, I'm sure we call them by so many names across the country. And it portrays Ganesha just like any other child with a sweet tooth. Maybe add that there are many adults with sweet tooth as well. And Muttama is raising her hands, and so am I. Sham, of course, is not at all sweet. But this one is such a charming tale of Ganesha and how he developed a sweet tooth. A very, very apt read for this festival if you do connect festivals and books, and a very animation style of illustrations. Look at the colors that literally leap off the pages of this book. I mean, I think child and adult alike will enjoy this delightful story published by Tota, written and illustrated by Sanjay Patel and Emily Haynes, and priced at 250 rupees. Ganesha's Sweet Tooth, which is a great way to welcome this festival. As always, we have limited copies of many of these books. It has been quite a challenge to get books, during the lockdown. I know lockdowns have lifted in different parts of the country, but when publishers send us these books by road, there are containment zones and books do get stuck here, there, and everywhere. So we have limited number of copies of many of these books, all put up online. I know many of you typically tend to make your orders, once the week begins. Sometimes by the time that the books, by the time you log in, the books are sold out. And we would, really love it if you went online. If there's especially a specific book that you want, if you went online, www.funkyrainbow.com, checked our bargain section for the Gaja Maja offers and ordered these books, the ones that you want. Sham, can you just bring back that comment again? Somebody said, looks very super. I'm sorry, I missed. Okay, Nirupama Pillai, you said, looks like it's super fun. It indeed is. It's a great book to be eating modakas with your child and reading. Both adult and child going to be enjoying Ganesha's Sweet Tooth considerably. I'm going to move to another book, with an elephant theme, and it is probably going to surprise many of you that we indeed have a children's book that has demystified the Persian philosopher Rumi for children. Such a gorgeous book published by Katha. In fact, it is, it has been featured in one of the 101 best children's books handpicked by, Young Zuban. This one has been picked as one of those 101 books. What Shape is an Elephant, authored by Rumi and art by Firoze Gol Mohammadi. Such a gorgeous book, about an Indian elephant who travels from India to Iran. He has, just gone to Iran, and, people over there don't quite know what an elephant is or looks like. Look at the spectacular way the spreads open out. Everybody in Iran comes to see this elephant. And the beautiful colors. In fact, against a brown background, these bright sparkling colors just absolutely stand out. And the thing is that many people go to see the elephant, but it's already night by the time, and there are still quite a lot of people who have not seen the elephant. There are a group of them who decide that they are still going to go see the elephant in its shed. And when it's pitch dark in the shed, the story is about how they find out what shape the elephant is. It's a beautiful philosophical tale. And when you touch something in the dark, the way you describe it, is Rupa, you again say lovely story and gorgeous illustrations. Indeed. I mean, the illustrations, look at this particular spread of so many Iranian women who have come to see the beautiful elephant. I mean, I hope the computer screen does justice to this, to the sort of sand like shade of the pages against which these virulent, beautiful colors really stand out. I'm a great one for bright colors, and I just love the way the book has been written and illustrated. It's got a beautiful philosophical message tucked away inside. Perhaps some of you have already guessed it. What shape is an elephant? When you grope in the dark, then different shapes obviously come to mind. It works for children at one level, and it would certainly work for adults at another level. It's much like these timeless classics like The Little Prince. You may have read The Little Prince as a young child or as a teenager. When you read it as an adult, the book unravels deeper and deeper meanings for you. It's a beautiful story by Rumi. And it's a great gifting book, whether you're gifting to a child or an adult. We would recommend it for children 6+ typically, and adults of all ages. It's a handsome hardback production published by Katha and priced at 295 rupees. I'm going to show you two lovely books. Can't wait to read this myself. Rimjim, you say, can't wait to read this myself, and to the little one. Indeed, that's the best way to enjoy a children's book. For those of I think I don't even need to tell this to all of you who are watching the Buzzaar. For those of you who know it, children's books are not meant for children alone. Obsolete children like us absolutely need to be reading children's books too. And, the greatest way to do it is to read these books with your children, because there's so much pleasure in that bonding and that reading. I'm going to, show you two books, and why I have chosen to show them together is because they are absolutely the same story, but, written and produced by two different publishers and two different authors, and such wonderful takes on it by the two creative people who have done it. The first one that I'm going to focus on is How Do We Weigh Appukuttan, written and illustrated by the very talented Indu Harikumar. In fact, it's a CBSE recommended book. You can see the chap right out there on the cover. It is about, an elephant at a kingdom. And in this book, the prince of the kingdom suddenly one day is feeding the elephants and wonders what the elephant's weight could be. Of course, people try all kinds of things because the Yuvraj has asked for the weight of the elephant. They run all over the place to try and figure out the weight, about how much Appukuttan weighs. Can they use a weighing scale? Well, that's got to be a really giant weighing scale, right? So what happens? They obviously there are no weighing scales. They do try one or two scales, and in fact, some of those scales even break as Appukuttan steps on them. So even if when he puts his trunk on one of them, it's all ulta pulta already. Fortunately for Muttama says that happens to her scales as well. No comments at all about what happens to mine. I don't even have one. Okay. The thing is, finally, after all the adults have tried, there's little Meenu who comes up with a gem of a mathematical idea on how to weigh an elephant. And I'm not giving that away to you because that, mathematical formula is so ingenious that all of you should read, understand, and enjoy it. This one published by Ekalavya, is priced at 50 rupees, written and illustrated by Indu Harikumar. Now, this one, the same story of how to weigh an elephant by Geeta Dharmarajan, who's the founder of Katha, of Katha, the publishing house, is a handsome hardback edition, so beautifully illustrated by Wen Su, a Chinese artist called Wen Su. And in this one, it's not the Yuvraj, but the king of the kingdom who wants to find out the weight of his favorite elephant. As always, everybody is trying all kinds of things because the king has announced a grand prize for anyone who's able to find the weight of his favorite elephant. Just look at the charming illustrations. Look at the fruit sellers were the first ones to try it. The rope makers then tried it. And I love this illustration where they're trying to weigh the elephant with a thick rope. And of course, what happens is adults may come and adults may go and adults may try everything. It's the jewelers who try subsequently, but it's finally just a child and a young girl called Leelavati, who is the daughter of the court scientist, who is able to figure it out. Again, it's a clean, simple mathematical formula and a little bit of physics thrown into it as well. So a great way to introduce these concepts to young readers. And there was just some wonderful thing that I discovered about the book when I was reading it yesterday, something that had not struck me before at all. Leelavati, the protagonist of this book, Geeta Dharmarajan says that she was inspired by the fact that we had a mathematician who lived in India nearly 1,000 years ago called Bhaskaracharya, and Leelavati was his daughter. In fact, he wrote a whole book after Leelavati, and Geeta Dharmarajan says she was compelled to name her protagonist Leelavati in honor of several women in science that we have absolutely failed to recognize. We remember the men more often, while there are lots and lots of women who have contributed to the growth and development of science. In fact, the book pays tribute to a couple of them, like E.K. Janaki Ammal, who lived between 1897 and 1984, to Kamala Sohoni, who lived between 1911 and 1996, and Aditi Pant, who is with us even today. But the Bhaskaracharya angle, I just didn't know. I'd stumbled upon it in an interview when I was reading up on the book. What a marvelous, gem of a book to introduce simple concepts of mathematics and physics, and also, introduce the conversation on gender. Why do we leave our women out of history? Why do they leave them out of science? Rupa, you say, thank you for sharing this interesting fact. It was indeed so interesting, to me, that I kept reading, I think, for almost 2 hours into some vague hour of the night about Leelavati herself, because I felt we knew so little about her. The thing is, why do we leave our women out of, all these fields when they have done a lot to contribute? Those wrongs can be set right only if you, introduce these themes to children when they are young. Preeti, you say, truly inspiring. Thank you so much. I know you said you were very busy with Ganesh Chaturthi. I'm so glad that you've made the time to join us. I'm so glad that you are celebrating your Ganesh Chaturthi at our Gaja Maja Buzzaar. So, How to Weigh an Elephant by Geeta Dharmarajan and illustrated by Wen Su, priced at 295 rupees. This is a hardback edition and hence a little bit more pricey. In 10 minutes, we'll have him on in 10 minutes. I'll finish a couple of books and say hellos and then get on to introducing. I'm going to move to the next elephant book, because we know Ashok's going to be here very, very quickly. And I know everybody's eagerly waiting for, Ashok to be here and to join us at the Buzzaar. So I'll recommend a couple of books before we move on and introduce him. This is called Speaking to an Elephant and Other Tales from the Kadars. Now, who are the Kadars? They are a small indigenous community in South India, and this handsome book features unusual folklore that they stories that they tell. It is such a beautiful book, I can't tell you. Please look at these fantastic woodcut illustrations. Look at these flaps. Look at how you can lift these flaps to reveal. I mean, they literally resemble the woodcuts that artists make, the real wooden block woodcuts that they make. So beautiful. And there is, of course, it is all about how the Kadars value the forest, how they know how to live in communion with nature, and how they have understood the importance of ecology and the environment in their everyday lives. So many lessons for us, in the modern age, grappling as we are with the pandemic. So many important life lessons tucked away for children and adults in this gorgeous book, with dramatic illustrations published by Tara. The thing is, there's an entire chapter dedicated to how the Kadars and elephants became friends. Please look at that. I think it might be a bit dark, but look at this gorgeous woodcut of a beautiful family of elephants. My God, we can't stop looking at the dramatic illustrations in this book. And it's all about how they, ensured that the elephants and them could coexist in the same jungle. Such a beautiful, powerful message out there. And I'm so delighted that the collection was named Speaking to an Elephant and Other Tales from the Kadars. This is written by Manish Chandi and Madhuri Ramesh, and the dramatic, gorgeous illustrations are by Matthew Frame. There are very many environmental messages in the book, like I said, especially if you're interested in gardening, because it does have many little tips on regrowing our forests, which we could possibly implement in our own little backyards or in our own little terrace gardens, just so that nature can be in our midst. Speaking to an Elephant, published by Tara, priced at 350 rupees, a wonderful, elephant book to be added to any child, any adult's collection. For children, we would say you need to be 8 plus, maybe even 9 plus to read this book. But adults, of course, of all ages can enjoy away. My next one, why the elephant has tiny eyes. Of course, why does the elephant have tiny eyes? And here we have a beautiful folk tale from that wonderful, lush part of India, the Northeast, that is rich in folklore and folk stories of all kinds. This gorgeous picture book, folk tale, retold by Pau Aim Hailong and illustrated by Priya Kurian, is such a gentle, funny tale about why the elephant has tiny eyes. Look at it. Look at Priya's, palette. She has actually chosen a fairly minimal palette. And we all know, you did see Priya's illustrations in I'm So Sleepy, and there are those vibrant, rich colors here. But look at her sort of sober palette in this book, which actually, she says she did to recreate the region's landscape, and yet so much flair in drawing each of these characters, especially the elephant, who endears himself to everyone in the jungle. It's a great folk story. It's quite an unusual folk tale. It's not one of the folk tales that we know of very easily, about why the elephant has tiny eyes, and that's particularly because it comes from that part of the country, from the northeast, from where we get very little literature. And I'm so glad that children's publishers, more than anyone else, are doing things to address this imbalance. It's available in multiple languages, as you can see, that's flashing up on our screen. Why the Elephant Has Tiny Eyes, priced at 175 rupees, suitable for children 5 years and above, published by Tulika, retold by Pau I'm Hai Long, and illustrated by Priya Kurian. Of course, I know everybody's absolutely and eagerly waiting for the man of the hour. But before we say hello to him, we'll just say a quick round of hellos to some more friends who've joined us at the bazaar. Mum, I hope the korkates are ready now. But Muttama says, where are they? And I guess we're going to have to get it done, Zod. But thank you so much for joining us at the Gaja Maja Bazaar this morning. It's always special to see family at the bazaar. Hi, Bharti. Hope your puja is done this morning. We would have been so happy for you to be here with all the korkates and modakas. I know you're going to bring them for us on Monday. We are so glad that you joined us at the bazaar as well. Hi, Jinu James. Hi, Jomi George. Hi, Subhashini Devanathan. Sumitra ma'am, absolutely a pleasure to see you here this morning. Responsible for, sorry?
Giving us a lot of books out of turn. She used to issue books in her library.
Oh, okay. Muttama tells me that you were absolutely responsible for issuing a lot of books to them, in the school library out of turn. We love librarians who break the rules because, we just can't have, children just can't have enough of books. And it's such a pleasure that so many years later, you're still in touch with your students and, looking at them. I hope it makes you really happy that, they are still in the world of books. Thank you so much for joining us, Sumitra ma'am. Archana Atri, one big elephantine hug and kiss goes out to you. I really did start this program saying that I know you're going through such a challenging time in your life. We could not do with the elephantine support that you send our way. And all of us at Team Funky Rainbow are so delighted that you have joined us this morning, despite, having some challenging appointments to keep. Muttama says trunk salam, and I'm like, trunk call for you. Like, okay, thank you so much for joining us, Archana Atri. Sumana Kundagrami, great to see you here from Calcutta. And Smita Nair, it is just remarkable, all of you bookwalis, how much you do for us and how happy we are to see you at the bazaar, because we do know that you have your own watch parties going. You're all chit-chatting with each other. You're drinking chai and, enjoying your chatting with your friends. It is just so lovely to think that, that we have replaced maybe that mall meeting, that coffee shop meeting that you would all do on Saturday mornings. We are so delighted that you're here doing those meetings with Funky Rainbow's Bazaar at your background. Really big hug goes out to you, all you Bookwali ladies. Thank you so much for the remarkable support and the remarkable work that you do in the space of, children's books. Thank you so much for joining us. I will, of course, now move on to introducing that wonderful, wonderful person who you're all waiting to meet. But before we bring him up on live, I want to say a couple of things. I mean, first of all, Ashok Rajagopalan, the creator of the best-selling Gajapati Kulapati series, is a dear, dear friend. We worked together for over 25 years now. Maybe, is that 25 years, Sham? I don't know, maybe 20 years plus that we have worked with him. And I do know that for us, personally, we know, Ashok's early days when he would illustrate pages and comics for the different magazines that we put together. That could be Chatterbox, that could have been Quest and Junior Quest, it could have been Hoot and Toot. Ashok illustrated for all those magazines and designed many, many of their pages. The thing is, right through all these years, our conversations, and they would go on till all kinds of weird hours of the night, because like I was telling Ashok yesterday, we've got to be the world's original chatterboxes. I doubt anyone can chat more than Ashok and me can, basically. And I was telling him there were so many conversations we would have where Ashok would talk about wanting to be known more as a writer than as as an illustrator. And 20 years hence of all those conversations, I am so delighted, Ashok, that the most unforgettable elephant in the history of Indian children's books, now and I think forever, you are the creator of that fantastic elephant, called Gajapati Kulapati. So we really, really put our hands together for you, Ashok Rajgopalan, and for your marvelous creation, Gajapati Kulapati. Ira Shankar, Mutama tells me, has joined us all the way from New Zealand because she's a giant fan of Gajapati Kulapati. And those words, I quote, unquote, giant fan of the books Gajapati Kulapati. And, Ami Shankar, you say Ira loves Gajapati Kulapati. Who doesn't? There's not a child, not a parent, not a grandparent, not an aunt, not an uncle who doesn't enjoy the Gajapati Kulapati books. And we can't tell you, Ashok Rajgopalan, besides that story of knowing that you've wanted to be a writer, I also want to say one more thing. You may not know this today, but we, all the three of us, Mutama, Sham, and I at Funky Rainbow, know that one of the reasons behind setting up Funky Rainbow was indeed a conversation that we had with you. It was a conversation where we felt that all of us have worked in the Indian children's publishing space for over 20 years now. And why is it that this space has always got like some Cinderella, like stepmotherly treatment? Why can't it be that creators of Indian children's books are as successful as, creators of Western books all over the world? And Ashok, that was pretty much, one of, it is at the core of everything that we do in Funky Rainbow. We want the creators of Indian children's books, whether they're writers or illustrators, to be able to make a living doing what they enjoy doing most. So Ashok, even if you don't, even if we've chatted away for hours and hours and made BSNL or Airtel so much richer for it, the fact is, yeah, please bring him on. The fact is that, we owe our one part of our existence to you and to those marvelous conversations that we have had all through. And ladies and gentlemen and children, we present to you the man of this Gaja Maja Buzzaar, Ashok Rajagopalan. Absolutely, we should have had some trumpets going on. Funky Rainbow at the moment. Ashok has to not, we have to embarrass you, Ashok. Come on. You are the superhero of our lives. I do remember introducing you saying that if the Tamil film world has a Kapali or Rajani, we have you and Gajapati Kulapati. So there it is. And the reason we are here and have Ashok, of course, besides being, like I said, the creator of this most unforgettable elephant in the Indian children's publishing space, is also because his latest book, Gajapati Kulapati Kalicha Kulicha, is going to be launched today. So please, ladies and gentlemen, we all need to put our hands together for Ashok Rajgopalan and for bringing out a fourth book in this wonderful Gajapati Kulapati series. The book is going to be launched later today at Tulika, and we will share the poster of Tulika's launch with you either now or a little later in the program. We have one copy of this book. Ashok, everyone who is watching has already ordered a copy, and I don't want them to think that we are not sending you this copy. Tulika did have some trouble. The book came a couple of days later from the printer, and they have dispatched our copies to us. So we expect to have them early next week. And each one of you who has gone ahead and pre-ordered so many copies of this book, you will have your books definitely next week. We have, in our own way, bamboozled them like elephants may normally do to send us this one copy, because we couldn't imagine being at the bazaar without a copy of Ashok Rajgopalan's latest book, Gajapati Kulapati Kalicha Kulicha. So yes, hi Ashok, and good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Hi.
I'm going to
Hi, Vidya.
it's go right ahead, Ashok. Yeah.
Can you, uh, can you hear me?
We can hear you absolutely
Am I?
fine. I'm going to ask you
Okay.
I'm just going to ask you a couple of informal questions, Ashok, just to find out, about Gajapati Kulapati, but please say what you'd like to first. Yeah.
About children's books given the stepmotherly treatment in India, like you said.
Yes.
But you forgot the main thing. I said now you're becoming the fairy godmother of the business here. It's a Cinderella kind of a thing.
Thank you. That's why people must have friends like Ashok Rajagopalan, because they
Yeah, we
make
can
you
pat each other's back. Like that.
make you feel like what you're doing is absolutely worthwhile. So what we thought, and especially because so many of our readers and so many of the viewers at our bazaar, many of them have discovered Gajapati Kulapati recently, or perhaps in the last a year or so. I thought what we could do is to ask you a couple of questions. This is just informal. You can chat away and tell us all these respond to my questions in any manner that that suits you. So I'm going to start off with the first one. How did the idea of Gajapati Kulapati come into your head?
The story was written for a read aloud session for an exclusive children's bookstore. And it wasn't meant to be printed. It was supposed to be a read aloud story. So, which is why all those loud noises and the rhythm and everything. And I love elephants. My family loves elephants. And basically, I'm from Kerala, and everybody there loves elephants. My mother is a big elephant fan. She collects facts about she's a great grandmother now. She browses the internet for everything to do with elephants, news, good, bad, everything. One unconditional love she has for elephants. I wrote this as a comic strip in the beginning, Gajapati the elephant, for my mother, as part of my portfolio when I went round publishing houses with my work. So I did this comic strip, one single page thing where he jumps into water and throws everyone out. So that was called Gajapati the elephant. Then after many years, about 15 years ago, when I was an art editor in Tulika, I wrote this in. It must have taken me only about an hour to do. So and I wanted to do, because it's a read aloud thing, I wanted to have rhythm and kind of poetry in prose, rhythm and beat and all that. I had one Gajapati Kulapati. That's why that Kulapati, it's a rhyme by itself.
I know.
And
I was
I
to,
say,
are you from
and
Thrissur, Ashok? Somebody is
no,
asking.
I've been there. I have relatives there, but I'm not from there. I've seen the elephants there though.
Yes.
Uh,
In fact, that's what
I'm
we were
from
going to
Palghar.
say. How did you come up with the name Gajapati Kulapati? I mean, so sweet. Not Jumbo, not Dumbo, not Aane, not Hathi, but Gajapati Kulapati. Really?
Maybe, maybe intuitively or the blessings of Lord Ganapati. I don't know. It just came. But I say Gajapati Kulapati is the onomatic uh, uh, words, a name for an elephant in motion, an elephant moving.
That is so lovely, Ashok. Really, like sounds in motion. You really do. I mean, I think kids, adults, they just empathize with the name directly, right? Gajapati, Kulapati, basically, right? I also wanted to bring to your attention the fact that every one of those books has such tongue swirling multi-syllabled Indian sounds in them. There's, ha chu in the first book. There's, kalabalush in the second one. And I can, show out all these books as we are talking. Kalabalush in the second one. Garabarum in the third one, and Kalicha Kulicha in this brand new one. These multi-syllabled sounds, typically what happens in the West is they believe that children cannot pronounce multi-syllabled sounds. Nothing could be further than the truth for Indian children, because we do grow up with complex sounds in our lives. So my next question to you was, how did you and why did you introduce so many marvelous onomatopic sounds into your books?
In the first, of course, children love sounds, like you said, and we Indians use a lot of such sounds in our speech. Ding, he came. Damal, he fell down. Pachak, I got slapped on the face with a wet stick. But
did you Pachak? Did you get slapped on the face?
Don't do my family ideas.
I have your wife's number, no, Ashok?
But if you the first book, I have said in the dedication, because I wanted to be absolutely honest, the dedication is to Radhika Menon, who is responsible for Pachak and Damal and other delights in the story.
Oh, lovely.
That's because I had only that big Achu in the first book, but she was the editor. She added this Pachak and Damal, and that made such a difference when I do read aloud sessions, that I'll have them at that Pachak, the children. So, then I thought that was a great thing. Ultimately, my job, at least through these books, is to make children laugh. So this makes them laugh. They enjoy these songs. So from the second book onwards, I introduce those more songs myself.
I can well imagine. Yes, I think storytellers and children, they thoroughly enjoy recreating the sounds in the Gajapati book. One of the other things I wanted to ask you, Ashok, is that, I truly believe it that you are a gentle giant of a friend of Funky Rainbows yourself. You really are one of the most gentle guys we've been in touch with. So calm, so composed. Are there any traits of yourself that you've put into Gajapati by any chance? Because he is a gentle giant, isn't he?
By the way, I am scared stiff of elephants. They are not all Gajapati. There's a photograph of in my childhood at the Madras Zoo where the man is pushing me closer and I am cringing, trying to move away from the elephant. Maybe that's why I wrote about an elephant who's so gentle that children can play around him and climb over him. But I think that's my personal belief. Every writer writes an autobiography. It's autobiography. Whatever a writer writes, there's something of the writer in the thing. And every illustrator draws a self-portrait. So I have a big nose. So I think there are a lot of me in the book, and not just Gaja, but all the villages, everybody.
That's true. Your characters are delightful.
They're like me.
It's lovely. It's
So, yeah.
lovely what you said, that even in a simple picture book, there's so much of an author that comes into it, the author and the illustrator in this case, that comes into the book. Do you have any delightful anecdotes that you'd like to share when it comes to Gajapati Kulapati? I know we have one when we took you to a school here at Samhita Academy, and where the children were sort of interacting with you, and you told them that it took you maybe an hour to write the first book, and then you had to wait 2 years before you wrote the next one, and then maybe another 2-3 years before you wrote the next one. We love the fact that one of the children got up and said, "What the hell were you doing in between? Why were you wasting your time?" Really?
I didn't have an answer.
That's how much they obviously empathize. Do you have any humorous anecdotes, if at all, if you have any that you may want to share?
Recently, okay, one I have. First, Gajapati Kulapati. I went to a Montessori school and I read the story out aloud. I usually have them at Pajak and Damal. At least I'll have them at that big Achu in the beginning. It goes like this, no? The banana seller asked Gajapati Kulapati, "Do you want any bananas?" And Gajapati Kulapati opened his mouth and said, "Achoo!" One little fragile girl burst into tears. It was Christmas, I remember. And then they were showing her Christ in the thing. They had made a small model of the birth of Christ and all that. They took her around, and even after the session, 1 hour later, she had tears in her eyes. So that really upset me. Only once, luckily.
Believe me, there's not that many children crying, about your achus or kalabalushes or, garabarooms or kalichas. In fact, Prabha Manjunath has just put out a comment saying that it's really time that we reclaim our noises. Ha ha, India is like a big noisy country, and it's time that we reclaim our noises
Right.
in this book. So thank you, Prabha. We wholeheartedly agree. Ashok, we know that, for you especially, there are many children who have come to watch the episode, the Buzzaar today. And we're going to ask you to do that one thing that we love, that is to draw Gajapati. But if you have something to say, please do say it before you draw Gajapati Kulapati, simply and quickly for us. Yeah?
Sure. No, only one thing. Another incident recently, somebody posted on Instagram. They got the fourth book in their hands. I mean, a mother was the first one to. She was the first mother to get Kalcha Kulcha in her hands, and even before I got it, she got it because of the courier problems during lockdowns, and she had posted on Instagram. A child is asleep, was having a nap. She should have had the common decency to wait for the child to wake up and then read the book together with the child. This horrible mother read the book. She couldn't wait to read the book. So that was recently.
Muttama says she's exactly that kind of mom. Her children can sleep, but she's definitely going to read. That's how much adults love the book too,
But
Ashok.
thank you to all the patient moms. Yeah.
So Ashok's going to do a quick drawing of, Gajapati Kulapati. So Amritayu, if you're watching, and other children, if you're watching, and adults too, this is going to be a most enjoyable, quick drawing of Gajapati in a few steps. Go ahead, Ashok.
I'm going to, this I've done countless number of times, so I'll do it. I mean, I'm doing it again here. I'm drawing Gajapati Kulapati's face using letters and numbers and simple lines. So take a sheet of paper, vertical, the top half of the paper, draw a big upside down U.
You know what? Of course, we can see it. Yeah, we can see.
Okay. And then a big A. another big J, a small V. This is meant to be drawn very fast. It's always it goes wrong. A big V here and a big V there. A big C. Another big C, a kind of mirror C of this. Two dots and two lines and some lines here. So now you have
Yay!
Gajapati, a simple Gajapati Kulapati face. And if you want to dress them up for parties, big V, small V, V for Vidya, Vidya. And then you scribble here, line, zero. Line. Now he's dressed up for parties.
Lovely, 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 Ashok.
Anybody can draw this.
You know, one thing we would request you, Ashok, is to give us a little video of you drawing Gajapati step by step, so we could, put it up on this. If it is not clear or fuzzy for anybody, we can put it up on our, social media pages and let children enjoy the pleasure, and adults enjoy the pleasure of drawing Gajapati Kulapati themselves. So,
instead of a video, I'll just give you panels, Vidya.
Okay.
Simple,
However, whatever suits your convenience and whatever Sham says would work for us. You know how director sir is when it comes to these things, basically. But it's such a pleasure that you joined us at the show this morning, Ashok. We, as I said, we love
my pleasure and honor.
Giant of an elephant, Gajapati Kulapati, and at Funky Rainbow, the books are available at as a set at a special discounted price for this week. All 4 books. I do know that there are a couple of you out there who are yet to read some of these books. Believe me, it's the best kind of book to read and bond bond across with your children, basically. We have each of the books available individually as well, including the latest and the most wonderful book, Gajapati Kulapati Kalicha Kulicha. As you can already see from the cover, you know where he's going, Kalicha Kulicha, and it's the monsoon just right now. Please take inspiration from the book and make a Kalicha Kulicha week for yourselves as well, basically, with your children. We are, as I say, absolutely delighted. The book is going to be launched by Tulika Publishers, so we're not giving away anything more of the book or the story, because it is going to be launched. As you can see, Sham has put up the launch announce over here at 4 p.m. today at Tulika's Instagram, on their Instagram. So please do, visit their Instagram page and enjoy a wonderful session with this wonderful writer, illustrator, Ashok Rajagopalan, and his latest book, Gajapati Kalicha Kulicha. Thank you, Ashok, for joining us. Team Funky Rainbow sends out an elephantine hug to you all the way from Bangalore. And yes, that hug is reciprocated. Thank you so much for being here at our Gaja Maja Buzzaar. You literally were the Maja of this bazaar. You and Gajapati Kulapati. All right. Thank you, Ashok. Thank you. Thanks. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that short little interaction with Ashok Rajagopalan. He's extremely busy today, obviously, because there is going to be the launch of Kalicha Kulicha, but we're so grateful and so thankful that he took 15-20 minutes of his time out of his schedule and joined us at the Gaja Maja Buzzaar. I'm going to continue with a clutch of more recommendations, on the theme of, elephants and gajas, popular gajas. But please do remember Tulika has dispatched this book to us, and we expect to have it early next week. So, for all of you who want to get Gajapati Kulapati Kalicha Kulicha, it's up for order on our website at the Gaja Maja Buzzaar. Go to the bargain section at www.funkyrainbow.com. Check out all the books that we featured in the bazaar today, and please order your copies if any of these recommendations interest you. Muttama has put all these 4 books available at a special discounted price as a pack. So if you already have it, please consider gifting it to various children. They will love you for it. We can definitely assure you of that. For those of you who only want Kalicha Kulicha, it's also available singly, as are all the other wonderful books. Somebody says, fun fact, Gajapati Kulapati is exactly 10 years old today. Oh my God, we didn't know that. Anisha Vijay Kumar of Tulika Publishers, thank you so much for saying that. I do hope you have a birthday song out for Gajapati Kulapati at your launch this evening. We'll all be watching, we'll all be cheering, and we'll all be singing. Hooray, Ashok Rajagopalan, 10 years of Gajapati Kulapati. This is what I said yesterday. They say elephants never forget. You have created the most unforgettable elephant in the Indian children's publishing world, definitely. So a great thanks goes out to you and to your publishers for giving us these wonderful books to read and enjoy. I hope there are many, many more Gajapatis to come, and we're eagerly looking forward to newer books that you're going to do in this series. I will, of course, continue with a clutch of more recommendations for you. As always, more books to recommend than we have time for. But I will, move to one which is a very, very nice book, with Makhna, as the protagonist of the book. You all know that a Makhna is a male elephant without a tusk. And this dramatic story, written by Arvind Krish Bala and illustrated by Sandeep Lewis, is set in the Western Ghats. It is, it is the story of a tuskless elephant who poachers refer to as Makhna, and it is believed that the Makhna has protected forests for years and years from poachers and other illegal activities. This is, quite dramatically illustrated. As you can see, the story has very many dramatic landscapes of the Western Ghats as well as of the Makhna. This is a story about how a Makhna, actually goes about, let's say, we believe he's protecting poachers. I mean, he's protecting the forest from poachers and other illegal activities. However, an elephant roaming around in the jungles and trespassing, human territories can be dangerous. And so in the case of this story, the officials of the Tamil Nadu Forest Department, want to capture the elephant and bring him to captivity so that, human settlements in and around the jungle are not affected in any way. These two brilliant stories, actually, in a sense, the legend of the Makhna as a protector of the forest and the work of the forest officials in capturing the Makhna safely, and in capturing the Makhna, and bringing him to captivity, these two stories blend together so beautifully to tell an important story of conservation, an important, drawing our attention to the cause of conservation. This one is published by Tulika, and we would recommend it for 6+-year-olds, or maybe even 7+-year-olds, depending on their reading levels, and it's priced at 175 rupees. We have two quick. Do we have how much, what is the time? Yeah, okay, we have some 20 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share with you two wonderful books from a CBT, Children's Book Trust, pioneers in bringing out books for children. In fact, they were the first ones to do it, under the leadership of K. Shankar Pillai. And there are these two wonderful books. This one, in fact, both written and illustrated by him. Sujata and the Wild Elephant, written and illustrated by Shankar, is such a lovely story about a lady in the jungle and, the encounter between her and an elephant. As you can see, it's illustrated in classic old style, charming two color illustrations of Sujata and the wild elephant, basically. And, what does she do? How do forest dwellers, reclaim? I mean, how do they share spaces with these magnificent beasts? This is again a story that would work for 7, 8+ year olds. You can, however, most definitely read it to younger children. As you can see, there are quite, lovely illustrations, very old school kind of illustrations accompanying this book. This one, written and illustrated by K. Shankar Pillai, Sujata and the Wild Elephant, published by CBT and priced at 50 rupees. This one too, again, another charming story, set of stories written by Shankar and illustrated by Sham's favorite illustrator, Pulak Biswas, is a great collection of stories about elephants. And Shankar has a small foreword to the book where he says, in South India, there are so many stories that we hear growing up about elephants. K. Shankar Pillai was from Kerala, so like Ashok said, perhaps elephant stories abounding, in that state. And this is, a collection, especially this first one, Hari and Other Elephants, is such a lovely story of, an elephant. All of them, all the, there are, I think, 5 stories, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Hari, Malti and the coconut, Sati and Babu, the leader, Papi and Chandu. They're all elephants and they all go on to make this lovely collection of stories on elephants, again suitable for 7+year-olds, written by K. Shankar Pillai and illustrated by Pulak Biswas, published by CBT and priced at 80 rupees. There are a clutch of some very books for very young readers published by Miss Moochie, and these books called the Little Book Lovers Reading Series features an elephant called Mary the Elephant. As you can see, there's in this one, the first book in the collection, Mary is a lovely, sweet little elephant who wants to paint a nice picture of her teacher, Miss Moo. But her classmate, G the Langur, does something terrible to her painting. What happens? What will Mary do? Very little text in these pages. Nice, animation, cartoon style illustrations in it. And, I think the idea of the whole series is to put children in situations. In this case, of course, it's Mary, in different situations so that they understand what it takes to deal with different small little things that happen in life. This one is written by Karishma Mehbubani and illustrated by Pia Alize Hazarika. And this set of 4 books, which are all, adventures and little things that happen to Mary. Like, for instance, in this book, it's a rainy day and Mary and her friends are stuck at school. And in this one, it's show and tell at school, and different creatures somebody brings a mango, somebody brings grapes, somebody brings watermelon. What is Mary going to share with her friends at the show and tell? And this one about Mary and the paper plane is about Mary making her first paper plane and trying to fly it. So as you can see, charming little stories, each one priced at 150 rupees, each one written by a different author and illustrator, but works for the youngest of readers, two up, ages two up. I mean, you can narrate the stories, and you can also, when they're a little older, get them to read it. All published by Miss Mochi and priced at 150 rupees each.
Megha Gupta, he says that in 1950, when Shankar first started CBT, he did not find enough people, so he started the competition, and the latest competition.
Yeah, so Megha, you were telling us about how when Shankar started CBT, there were not enough stories being written by Indians for children. And one of the things that I always sort of say in a talk that introduces Indian children's literature to students and adults and teachers is the fact that his writing competitions pretty much spurred a generation of people to start writing for children. The remarkable thing that we do when we do this talk is that, in fact, the first workshop that they NBT conducted too. For instance, there was CBT, and then the National Book Trust got set up, and there was the Nehru Bal Pustakalaya imprint that they set up. The first workshop that they did with illustrators, 3 of the books that came out from those workshops still remain in print. 1 to 10 Procession by Miki Patel, Diwali, and Home. So the pioneering work of Shankar and CBT and NBT can never be underestimated in the Indian children's publishing space. Thanks for that tip, Megha. That is such an important thing to share with our audience. I'm moving to another book, that features an elephant. And I do know, we have about 10 or 15 minutes. So I have a clutch of recommendations, which I'll run through so that everybody can get to their festive lunches. This one, My Blue Elephant by Vidya Vardarajan and illustrated by Zainab Tambawala, is a sweet, sweet story for the youngest of readers again. And what I particularly made me chuckle was the dedication in this book. Vidya Vardarajan says, I dedicate this book, doorbell rings, to my mother, Srimati Vardarajan. Daughter demands milk for stray kitten, for everything you've done for me. Kids fight to feed the kitten, and for making it seem howling toddler climbs into my lap so effortless. My God, I think so many mums and dads would probably identify with this dedication. This is a sweet, sweet little book about, again, a girl very similar to Elephant in My Backyard, where a little girl is wondering how she can tell everyone that there is an elephant in her bedroom. She's not quite sure how to tell her family, but that an elephant has followed her from the temple to her bedroom. Very, very little text on the pages and delightful illustrations. In fact, there was one that I had marked out that seems to I'm not able to find that one that I wanted to share, but as you can see, pretty large text and lovely large illustration. It is about this little girl and her big secret, that is her pet elephant. Will her family be able to find out soon? Published by Scholastic and priced at 250 rupees. We have a clutch of I have to, of course, feature an activity book. Often we get told that we don't, present that many activity books. That's because there are just so many books to read that, we feel like featuring. But this one, a beautiful production by Tara Publishers, by Tara Books, called 8 Ways to Draw an Elephant. What is marvelous about this activity book is that it teaches you, whether you're a child or an adult, this unusual art book features an Indian elephant and teaches you to draw the Indian elephant in a variety of Indian art traditions, in a variety of Indian folk traditions. Very, very nice idea. Such a great way to introduce to our children folk art, because when we typically tend to draw, we tend to draw elephants in in specified manners, but folk art styles, they always help you stretch your imagination. And the elephants in this book, there are elephant. We are taught to draw them in a Meena style, in Patua style, in Pitora style, in Mata the Ni Pachedi style, and Madhubani. It's a beautiful book that I think both children and adults will enjoy. There are quite a few other books in this series, but we've taken the elephant one. There's 8 ways to draw a fish. There's 8 ways to draw a deer. But we've chosen this one today for our Gaja Maja Buzzaar. This one is priced at 250 rupees and an excellent activity book to bring into your collection. A clutch of, a couple of more books. This one, The Elephant in the Tree, written and illustrated by Mallika Nagarajan, is a quirky story that blends fantasy and reality. It's the story of a little girl called Mahi, who suddenly finds a 7-trunked elephant, sitting on the tree outside her window. This elephant takes her on a fantasy-filled journey that will completely change Mahi's life. It's beautiful because, it's a story that takes Mahi on the journey of discovering the tree of life, to discover how rain has been created. And it's such vibrant illustrations. In fact, this is the one that I had chosen out an illustration from. Just look at the gorgeous colors on this spread. I mean, can anything get more Indian than this, than this kind of formatting, that this kind of design and this kind of illustration? It's a beautiful story, fantasy-filled story about this elephant called Airavat, who takes Mahi on a journey that completely changes her life. And it, of course, introduces her to the concept of the tree of life, the concept of rain. And Airavat, interestingly, the elephant that's supposed to be Indra's mount, basically. In mythological stories, it is believed that elephants are connected to rain. Why? Because it's believed that Airavat, reaches his trunk into the watery underworld, sucks out the water, and sprays it all over into the clouds, and that's how we have rain. That's a mythological tale, and I guess that's why the elephant is named Airavat in this lovely fantasy story. Published by Katha and priced at 195 rupees. This is another beautiful one from Katha called Walk the Grasslands with Takuri. This is written by Neema Manjrekar and Nandita Hazarika, and has been illustrated by this fantastic illustrator called Maya Ramaswamy, whose many, many books recreate the jungle quite like no other. She has such beautiful, realistic landscapes painted into her books. And this one, takes you right into the grasslands of India. In fact, it takes you into the grasslands. In fact, look at the cover. Look at how beautiful the cover is. Of course, Takuri of the title is not the elephant, but a pygmy hog. And the book came out of a conservation attempt, like a project that works to save the pygmy hog from extinction. And this one really takes you into the undulating grasslands of India, whether it is high up in the Himalayan Bugyals or down in the South Indian mountains as well. This one takes you on the journey of the grasslands, introducing you to the lumbering rhino and to the florican, to the frog, to the bear, to termites. It's such a great walk in nature, with young readers. There is one more in the series, right? There's a Nivupa. It's what is it? Walk the Rainforest with Nivupa. Of course, we've featured Walk the Grasslands with Takuri because she absolutely meets the elephant, right up at the beginning of the book and travels the grasslands with the elephant. It's a beautiful book with a lot of, it's written in story form, but there are lots of facts interwoven into it. So Walk the Grasslands with Takuri and Walk the Rainforests with Nivupa, priced at 195 rupees and published by Katha. Enough time. Okay, I have to pick and choose. I'm going to leave aside A Pair of Twins. I have recommended this in hundreds of bazaars this far, if at all we've done 100, of course, but you must know that this is the story of Lakshmi and Sundari, and Lakshmi is an elephant and Sundari the daughter of the Mahout of the Kingdom of Mysore, and it's a beautiful gender-breaking picture book set in the time of Dashera in Karnataka. It's a must-read by any stretch of imagination and tells of a beautiful bond between the Mahout's daughter Sundari and this elephant, the daughter of the main elephant of the Dashera procession, Lakshmi. Priced at 250 rupees and published by Karadi Tales. I am going to introduce one book which is a story which is not a happy story, basically, but there is, even in not so happy stories, a lot of depth. And this one, called The Great Storyteller, written by Ken Spillman and illustrated by Manjari Chakravarti, is the story of the great storyteller. And the great storyteller in this book is none other than an elephant. You see, all the creatures of the forest gather near the tree of life to listen to stories narrated by the great storyteller. But one day, the great storyteller becomes ill and the stories stop. Sadness absolutely descends on this forest and everything seems dull and rather dismal. But can the stories ever stop? It's a beautiful tale of loss, recovery. We do lose people in our lives. How do we cope with it? Our young children experience it in some way or the other. How do we cope with it? How do we recover from it? How do we recharge our creativity? This one is a beautiful story of love, loss, recovery, and the power of imagination and creativity to heal everything in the world. The Great Storyteller by Ken Spillman, illustrated by Manjari Chakravarti, very, very beautifully illustrated, as you can see, and, priced at 250 rupees, published by Scholastic India. Of course, as I said, we have so many. We've probably left out at least, in the course of recommendations, maybe 5-7 books that have got left out. They're all in our Gaja Maja Buzzaar. So go to the bargains section, www.funkyrainbow.com, click bargains on top, and all the Gaja Maja books will come up for you. So, do mull over all the recommendations we've made and pick the ones that you think would interest your children and you the most. This one is a quirky story called Razia and Her Pink Elephant, written by Mukul Dubey and illustrated by Fahad Faisal. It is such a sweet story where, we know that the protagonist of the book is Razia. But, the writer is telling you so many other stories except Razia's story. And the lovely thing is, by the end of the book, for instance, he introduces us to Razia's pink elephant, who is so sweetly called Saraswati. Okay. And yes, there is Razia's, pink elephant called Saraswati, who was, of course, born in Kerala. But then we meet from there on Saraswati's uncle Sher Singh, who's quite a cool dude amongst the elephants. He is a carrot taster. He has traveled to Myanmar. He has traveled to Australia. He's traveled to South America. And the book indeed does take you trace the lineage, taking you to Burma, taking you to Australia, introducing you to things there, and about how he also become a carrot taster. Look at this fantastic fact filled spread about what he does in his life as a carrot taster. And from there on, it introduces us to Natasha, who is the world's fastest courier pigeon, and also, a friend of Razia's. Now, who is Razia, and why are we being told the stories of her different friends? Such an unusual take for a book, on elephants. I'm not going to give it away. I will show you one of the spreads of Natasha. It's a great way to introduce places to your children, because the book goes from Kerala to Delhi to Myanmar to Australia to South America to our Republic Day parade. And you will, at the end of it, perhaps get to know Razia's story, perhaps being the operative word. It's a lovely hardback book priced at 350 rupees and published by Katha. Yes, we can perhaps, I don't know. Okay, Little Vinayak, another gorgeous hardback book featuring an elephant, published by Karadi Tales. This is Little Vinayak, written by Shobha Vishwanath and illustrated by Shilpa Ranade. Has got such a jolly premise. What happens to an elephant whose trunk is so long that he trips and falls whenever he walks? This is little Vinayak's problem. No matter what he does, he cannot keep his long trunk away from him. And here's a picture of little Vinayak with his long trunk. Shilpa Ranade's beautiful pastels, bringing out the humor of the story so beautifully. And like it always happens in life, who comes to little Vinayak's rescue? It's a very special friend who has a very special solution. Not giving away anything more in the book, but a handsome hardback edition priced at 399 rupees and published by Karadi Tales. Sham's already pointing to the clock, so I will only maybe just say hello and hi and show you a couple of books for older kids, because we have a lot of picture books in this bazaar. We do have books for older children. Uncles, Aunts, and Elephants by Ruskin Bond, an eternally favorite storyteller, where there are, a beautiful set of stories featuring uncles, aunts, and elephants. Bond, as charming as he can be, in fact, the book has a lovely little poem by him. I know the world's a crowded place and elephants do take up space, but if it makes a difference, Lord, I'd gladly share my room and board with a baby elephant, is what he says. Charming collection of stories published by Penguin India. Not all elephant stories, of course, because there have to be uncles and aunts that feature in it. Priced at 299 rupees, we would recommend this for 9+-year-olds. And then we have this set of books, which is the Young Pandavas series, a set of chapter books that feature the Pandavas as young 8-year-olds and the adventures that they get up to. Written and illustrated by Anupam Arunachalam, the first book in the series is set in the city of elephants. What basically happens is that they come back from the forest to Hastinapur, young boys as 8-year-olds, and Hastinapur and its palace is full of elephants. There are real elephants that welcome them at a parade. There are pillars that are carved like elephants. There are, pools, and there are, trellises everywhere with elephantine designs in them. It's a great set of chapter books that, great epic adventures, actually, of the Pandavas as young children, 8-9-year-olds. I think this lively, action-packed, reimagining of the Mahabharata will certainly, it's a it's a very, very different take on the epic, and the way it's written, the language, the style, they're all very contemporary. I believe readers 8 plus or 9 plus will absolutely enjoy the two young Pandavas books. And as I said, which are very, very contemporary in many ways. Priced at 199 rupees, written and illustrated by Anupam Arunachalam, and published by Hachette India. I will conclude with the last book, and because it is Ganesh Chaturthi day, well, an adventure by that master mystery writer Satyajit Ray and his greatest detective creation, Feluda. This is the adventures of Feluda and the mystery of the elephant god. The thing is, the story is set in Varanasi during Durga Puja, and a very valuable statue of Ganesha is stolen from the household of the Ghoshals, I think. And who but the intrepid Feluda, and comes to the rescue. He has to battle his arch enemy called Manganlal Meghraj, and fortunately unmask a fraud sadhu in the process. It's a hair-raising adventure. We would recommend it for 10 plus year olds and adults of all ages, especially if you haven't been introduced to a very desi detective. Feluda is one. Beautiful stories, that bring India alive, and mysteries too. And we do know that children love these mysteries. Well, there are many, many books in the series. We have picked The Adventures of Feluda and the Mystery of the Elephant God today, published by Penguin, translated from the Bengali, of course, this one translated by Gopa Majumdar, and priced at 150 rupees. I would like to say a quick round, Vidya Mani, a big shout out to you for this incredible sharing. Annapurna Das, that's what it is, right? That is what, all these festivals in India, irrespective of which religion they come from, they're all about sharing, they're all about bounties, they're all about blessings. And we really do wish that a great bounty of books comes your way, today, tomorrow, and every day. That's what the aim is at Funky Rainbow, to see all your families, with lots and lots of Indian children's and young adult books in your collections and bookshelves. I'm going to say a quick round of hi. Harpreet Anand, lovely to see you. Sumi Chandrasekharan, I know you messaged me saying we must recommend Korukatta in this bazaar. I'm afraid we don't have a single copy, but we're going to redress that pretty soon. But for people who are watching, Sumi Chandrasekharan is the author of this charming picture book called Korukatta, which is the story of the Modakas. The Korukattas, that, a lovely folktale recreated by Sumi, centered on the delicious Korukatta. We hope to have it soon in our subsequent bazaars, Sumi, and we shall definitely write to Tota. Thank you for this Elephantine Book Festival every Saturday. Padma Baliga, teacher from St. Joseph's College, former teacher and professor at St. Joseph's College. How can we not expect you to have this clever wordplay for us? We love presenting our Elephantine list, and if it was left to us, it would be a queue of many jungles. Rupa Baliga, you say we love the Korukatta story, so there, Sumi, there are people who have the book, despite the fact that the publisher hasn't sent it to us, despite many, many, many requests made, but we're hoping we'll address it soon. Mr. W.C. Thomas from Raksha, thank you so much for joining us at the bazaar today. I know you've been at other ones, and I do hope this, list of, books featuring elephants was an interesting one for you. Anvesha Ghosh, you're a young upcoming musician. We do hope at some point you'll incorporate many, many of these stories into your music in some way or the other. The wonderful thing thing about Indian children's books brought out by Indian publishers, is the fact that they lend themselves to so many situations and, in our everyday life. You can narrate them, you can sing them, you can make rhymes out of them. And we really do hope you'll use your talent to, bring some of these books into song. Abhirami Krishnaswamy, an absolute pleasure to see you. And Sneha Caroline from Hippocampus, how very delightful to see you here at our Gaja Maja Buzzaar. Thank you so much for watching today, and we wish all of you a wonderful festive weekend, and may the bounty of Ganesha be with you always. And we truly and well and truly hope that this is a bounty of books. Thank you so much. Muttama and Sham, join me in sending, our best wishes your way. We are absolutely delighted to have presented this bazaar to you. We thank Ashok Rajagopalan for taking time out of his busy schedule and being at the bazaar. We will put up a video of him drawing Gajapati Kulapati. Especially if you want to do that with your children, we will put it up on our social media pages next week. One big trunk call to all of you out there who have been watching our bazaar week after week. Thank you, and see you again next Saturday. Bye.